Okay, by now you should have your background and stage drawn. You should have speakers and lights. If you don't have those, you need to create some. And we're gonna put everything together in Photoshop now, just to make sure we have all the pieces before we put them into Unity and make this game interactive. Okay, so we are missing a couple of things. We have the stage, we have the speakers. If you don't have a speaker yet, you can create one real simple. I did rectangles and circles for this. So you can select what you have, and then we're basically going to copy and paste. We're going to copy and paste into our stage scene. So we'll all have separate layers for everything. I just pasted the speaker in here. Okay, and then I'll paste another one. Okay, and then we're going to get our character. Okay, and then so we need the separate body parts that we drew before. I'm going to go ahead and I'll mix it up and use this guy. Okay, I'm just gonna copy each piece individually, I suppose. Command C, Command V. I'm gonna go Smart Object. Now I'll paste them all in separately. Try to do that pretty quickly. Command C. You have to kind of hit Enter or hit double click to get out of that mode. This transform mode. So the reason I'm doing it on each part is so they have individual layers. So I can hit return on my keyboard or double click. Okay, let's go back and get this one arm and hand. Command C, Command V. I could really just paste that twice and then flip it here, or I could just copy and paste from here. Command C. Why am I doing it all separately? Well, just saving time for later. I have to get out of that mode. When it's in that transform mode, you can't do anything else until you get it. Oh, I accidentally got his head in there. So let me see. If I double click this, are these separate parts now? Now see, it put it all as one. That's why I'm doing it individually, because when we go into Unity later, we want to have them all individual. So that's why I'm putting them all into Photoshop individually, because we're going to eventually be importing or exporting as PNGs from Photoshop anyways. So that's why I'm getting everything in here, because we will just select everything layer by layer and export them into our Unity folder once we get there. And his head, I'm actually copy and pasting from Illustrator into Photoshop, which is a little silly since we already had him done in Photoshop. We didn't need to get him back from Illustrator, but here we are. Okay, so I want you to get your character set up, and I forgot his body, didn't I? So let's do that, and let's see. Now remember, when you copy and paste in Photoshop, whatever layer you're on, you will it'll create a new layer right above the one that you're on. Okay, Command C. So you'll see that a new layer will be posted right there. And if you're really good, you'll kind of double click and label these so you know where each thing is. And then you'll notice that the body's above the legs because the legs are on layers below, and you could rearrange all that stuff. Okay, and then you could select all this at the same time. What is this layer? That's a speaker. That's why labeling things is good, because then you don't have to click and try to figure out where everything is. And I'm going to go Command T and shrink it down to the size I want, say about like that. Okay, and essentially we are going to set up our scene. Now, one thing we're missing is the arrows. So we're going to draw the arrows to make this look like it's an actual in-game scene. I have some arrows here that I made. How can you make arrows? You can make them directly in Photoshop. If you aren't sure how to do that, I'll show you real quick on Illustrator how to make an arrow, and we'll go directly into Photoshop from here. So I'm going to make there's a lot of different ways. There's actually an arrow tool somewhere, but I'm going to make a rectangle. Let's make it black outline and change the outline to, I'll take it to whatever, that's at 5. And then let me click off that tool, and then I'm going to take the polygon tool, and if you click one single click, this window pops up, and I could say make it a 3-sided shape, and which is a triangle, and then I'm just going to rotate it. Hold Shift to make it on perfect 45-degree angle turns, And there we have an arrow. Okay, you could make your arrow different if you want. I'm going to group this together with Command G. Now I'm going to copy it and I am going to paste it into Photoshop. Now click the top layer and I will hit Smart Object again, and I'm going to double click this, call it arrow. And so you're going to need an up, down, left, and right. So you can copy and paste a layer, Command C, Command V. Now I have 2. Command V again. I have 3. And Command V again, 4. Now they all have to be up, down, left, and right. So I'm going to push Command T on my keyboard. That's how you can rotate things. Whoops, if I hold, I messed up. I went too far. Hold Shift and get it exactly the way you want. And Command T. So I got left, up, and down. And I'll double check the order of these. I can't remember if the order matters for this. And if you want to add some color glows, some glowing colors, like I did to make it even stand out more, you can do some glows and, like, decide, is it red, green, blue is what are you gonna go with something like that, or whatever colors you decide to do. You could change the size to make it bigger, however. You have to select OK first, and then you could change things like this. And you have these other options too, by the way, if you want. I don't even see the glow on there very much. Okay, and you can do like, you could also do an inner glow. I feel like it's not showing up. I don't know. Let me see, the color overlay. If you wanted the whole arrow to be red, or just slightly, tinted. You could play around with things like that. If you want to drop shadow as they come down, you have all kinds of options to goof around with, okay? So get your arrows on there, place them where you want, make them the size you want, make them make them the style you want. And let's set this up like it's going to be a game, and then we're like we're very close to just importing everything into Unity and making all this stuff work. Okay, so go ahead and set up your stage with you on it, your cartoon body, and the arrows, and have fun.